Hello and welcome to this first video of the online lab. I think the whole lab will be 6 videos where we will go step by step on how to analyze the quant data that we collected. But please be sure that before you start this, you have already watched the pre-recorded lecture. It's quite short, but it's important because otherwise there will be concepts that you will not understand and you can be lost in this lab. So please make sure that before you start the lab, you actually watch the lecture. But assuming that you are done with that, I think we can start with the first video. And this first video, what we are going to do is to clean the data that we collected from the survey. Because we collected data in different forms, like for example, text, we have a few numbers, we also have other numbers, we have more text in here. We need to kind of convert all of this data into numbers and also to make sure that we have the correct data. I think we did a very good job with the survey and collecting the survey because I didn't see any issues. I will explain what kind of issues we could face. So I think it will be easy to clean the data. Sometimes it can be complicated, but I think what we did was good in the survey. We prepare a nice survey and that facilitates things. So let's start. You will find the file in Canvas. You have this file of data. This is the actual data that we collected um, from our survey. We collected a total of 315 responses. Of course, it's 316 here in Excel because the first line is the title of the question. So that's why we have 316 rows, but it's actually 315. So that's a good number. So I will go step by step, open your file, try to go and do the same as I do. And at the end, we should end up with the same thing because it's quant, it's very objective. It should be the same thing for you and me. So let's start with the first question. We need to code the first question, or we need to check what to do with the first question. So I suggest that you go to data here, click on data, and then click on filter, because that will open this little arrow here, and that will allow us to manage the data in a nice way. So if you click here, first of all, this first question is a question where we ask the participant for the consent. So there are only two options, I agree or I disagree. So let's see. If we click on this arrow, we will see that everyone actually answer I agree. Nobody say I disagree. So maybe because of that, we can remove this first column. I think we don't need it. We can just remove it. Uh, if for some reason we had someone who said I disagree, you have to remove that row, that line, because we cannot really use that response. So please check that. The next question is about gender. So I think that the first thing that we need to do is to change the name of the variable because right now we have the question. So I think it's important to change it. You can do whatever you want. You can call it gender. I usually use a three letter code, for example, GEN for gender. I try to use these 3 letters because it helps me, but I mean, you can do whatever you want. And maybe for this workshop, do what I do with 3 letters, and I mean, so then we get the same results. So first of all, change this first row, this first square for you have the long question, but change that and just write gen for gender. And then click here, and then you will see that we have female, male, and prefer not to say. So we have different, we don't have like in the other one where everyone say I agree. Here we have to do something. So for gender, the ideal is to code it 1-0. Uh, Many years ago, we used to think there was only male and female, but now there are different views on gender, and that's why we actually included the prefer not to say. I think there was also other, but nobody answered to other. So I think we have only prefer not to say and female and male. So what we can do, and I think this is good practice, it's a new thing, and I think it's good, is that we can just code 1 for female and 0 for everything else that is not female. It can be male, or it can be prefer not to say, or it can be other. Because even if you click only on prefer not to say, you will find how many people say prefer not to say, and there are not that many. So I think it's not that significant. I think it's safe to do this that we can just code female as 1, male as 0, and everything else also as 0. So to do that, select all this column, and then here in home, click on find and select, and then replace. And write female with the uppercase like that, female, and replace with 0, with 1, sorry, with 1. And then click replace all. Check if you also got the same number as I have, 184 replacements, and then click OK. The next thing to do is to change male to 0. So male to 0. Uh, 0. Replace all. You should have 129. And finally, prefer not to say. Prefer not to say. I think it was like this. Also to 0. Let's see. 2 replacements. Also, only 2 people wrote prefer not to say. After you did this, let's come back to this arrow and let's see. Oh, only now zeros and ones. That is good because the computer, the SPSS program that we're going to use, likes to have only numbers. It's better for the computer to have only numbers. So that's how we do with the first variable with gender. The next variable is also easy. I think it's easier to deal, which is age. How old are you? So I think we can already change the name of that variable and call it age. 3 letters, age. And let's click on the arrow to see what kind of responses we have. As you can see, we don't have anyone below 18. That is good because we assume that everyone is a university student and the oldest person is 42. So it's also in the normal terms. I will be surprised if someone wrote 99 years. I mean, it can be possible, but that's strange. So I don't think there is any mistake with age. That's fine. And I think the reason why we don't have any issues with age is because when I made the survey, I made sure I put some limits and filters that if someone wrote something below 18 or something that was not an integer and not something between 18 and 99, I think it will come up as an error. So if someone wrote, for example, 22.5 or 22 years old, it will say error and it will force the person to write only the number. That is great because if we didn't have that here, like for example, someone wrote 22 years, you will have to manually fix that and that takes a lot of time. So I think it was a very good thing that we did it like that in the survey. So think about this when you do your own survey for your own thesis. The next variable is which year did you start your current studies or last studied program? So for this variable, we cannot leave it like that because if we leave it at 2022, it's a huge number. It's huge compared to age, and it's huge compared to all the other variables. It's going to mess up our model. So what we are going to do for year is that we are going to open a new column next to this one, and we are going to call it YEA for year. And what we are going to do is to subtract from 2026 this year. So 2026 minus that year. So for example, someone who started in 2022 is currently on its fourth year, I think. If someone starts on 2025, let's see if we find someone from 2025, probably that we can find it when we do this one. Or maybe there is nobody on 2025. Um, I don't know. Maybe someone is there, but I think if someone writes 2025, maybe we don't have any first year student. It's a bit surprising, but probably we don't have anyone who started in 2025. But it also makes sense because we are in spring, so maybe if someone just started in the last summer in 2024, so it's okay. But the idea of this variable year is that you make sure that you have that you have a smaller number, because if you just leave the year, that's going to be complicated. So I suggest to do this calculation: 2026 minus this year over here. I mean, we could do 2025 it's okay, especially because I think nobody started in 2025. We could do it like that, but for this exercise, let's do 2026. It's not an issue. The only thing that matters is that you actually reduce from 2022 to 4. That's very important. And then select this thing, sorry. Before you select that, copy everything again, copy the whole column, copy, and then click paste in here, but in the arrow, and then paste as values. Because what we are going to do now is to remove this column C because we're not going to use it anymore. But if you don't do that, the copy and paste as values, if you leave it as a formula, then this thing is going to mess up because you remove the formula and it's going to be an error. So make sure that you copy and paste as values. Okay. So let's move to the next. The next question is are you studying at John Shopping University? Yes or no? If you click in here, we can see that it's only yes or no. So that's also very good. So let's rename this variable as UNI or university. We'll try to remember that that means John Shopping University. And then again, let's code yes to ones and no's to zero. So let's select all the data, go to find and select, replace, and then change yes to one. Yes, replace with one. And check, I have 270 replacements. And for no, we will have 45. And then click OK. And then let's see, zeros and ones. That's what we want. We don't want yes or no. Then we are in another question that it's also a bit tricky. On which level are you currently studying or did you stop? So let's click. We have bachelor, master, and PhD. We have three levels. I think what we need to do in here is to also code change the letters or the words for numbers. So to do that, let's select all the, before that, let's change this. Let's call it LEB as level of studies, LEB. And then let's select all the data and then home, find and select, replace, and find bachelor, and replace with one. Why with one? Because bachelor is the first level of studies, just a number. So replace all. You should have 298 replacements. Then the second one will be master. Master replace with two. You should have 16 replacements, and finally PhD. Three. You should have only one. Okay. So uh, that's how we code for this. If you think about it, we have a lot of responses from bachelor, more or less from master, but not that many, and only one from PhD. You could be thinking, should I remove the PhD? Uh, I mean, it's a question that you can ask. We can think about it later, but I mean, like, unless we see a big issue when we do the analysis, I think it's not a problem. I think having one PhD is still okay. But so let's leave it like that. But if you've thought about it, I think it's a good reflection, but let's come to that later. If we see that there is something very wrong, we can try to fix it. Also, in year, if you take a look, there is someone who has 13 years since that person studied or is studying. I mean, it's possible also that maybe someone started many years ago and then started working and now it's coming back to finish. It's totally normal. And I don't see many numbers like that. So I think maybe it's possible. We have like two people who are like that, two responses with big numbers. So I also don't think it's a like something bad. I mean, you can always remove the outliers, but let's keep it like that for this exercise. If something's not wrong, it's not working, we can come back and remove. Next question is about if you live in Sweden. Or if you're born in Sweden, if you were born in Sweden. Let's change the name of that variable to SWE as in Sweden, and then let's do the same. Select everything and then go to find and select, replace yes for one, like this. You should have 140 replacements and then no for zero. 175 replacements. Okay, so we are a little bit more from not switch. And I think we reach a checkpoint, kind of checkpoint so far. What we can do, because all of these variables are control variables. These variables are not the variables that are part of our hypothesis. They are not happiness. They are not global mindset. They are not materialist, and they are just demographic controls that we will use in our model. If you watch the lecture on quantitative statistics, because we need that to increase the R square. So I think it's nice I like to do it like that. If we use colors here, maybe the orange one is nice for controls, just to visually see that these variables are the controls. Until the red one, it's controls. And then from here, we actually start with um, from happiness, we start with the dependent variables. We have happiness one, happiness two, three, four, and then we have the socially responsible investment one, two, three, four, the sustainable consumer behavior one, two, three, four, and global mindset one, two, three, four. And then we have, after global mindset, we have the independent variables, financial stress, one, two, three, four, five, university satisfaction, one, two, three, four, five, and all of those. We have all the other variables in here. I think we have a lot of variables until what's CH. So we have a lot. So now let's move and let's code these variables. So the first thing that I would like to do is the good thing is that we don't have to deal a lot with these variables because they are already in a nice scale. They are in the Likert scale of 1 to 10. So we don't have to do a lot of work. Everything, you can again click in here, make sure that everything is between 1 and 10. We don't have any ones and twos. I guess that's good because people are quite happy in some way. We will see that in the descriptive statistics, but we don't have anyone who answered one or two. So it's fine. It's in the range that we will expect. No more than 10, no less than 1. That's great. No 1.5. That's perfect. So you can check again. And this is because the survey was well done. So good that we invest time in that. So to to deal with the dependent variables that we are going to do now, I think uh, we need to check something. And this is also something that I did when I prepared the survey. Check in here that the question doesn't have a point at the end, a period. It doesn't have a period like this. It's person and it doesn't have a full stop or the period. It's only person and that's it. That means that this variable this question is asked in the normal way, where 10 means happiness. In general, I consider myself a very happy person. If you answer yes, totally agree, that means you are happier. 10 means happy. So these questions that are asked in the right way, in the right direction, do not have the point. There are some questions you will see where there is a point, like this one. Some people are generally not very happy. Although they are not depressed, they never seem as happy as they might be. The previous characterization describes me. So if someone answered to this as 10, that means this person is not happy, right? Because it actually describes the opposite. It describes someone unhappy. So if you agree, you are not happy. So that is the first thing to check with happiness. And we have this somewhere around, like with SRI, we have it in SRI 4. We have the point in here. So check. Also, you can check from LAB1 because you actually wrote that. If in your variables you have that, check that, please. So let's start with happiness and let's go with happiness and then we move forward. So if you don't have the point, you only rename it to HAP1, right? That's the only thing you need to do. Not change with the numbers, anything, because it's correctly asked. It's 10 is more than 1. 10 means happy. That's fine. Then the next one, we also don't have the point. So let's write HAP2. In the next one, we also don't have the point. It's HAP3. No issues. But then we have something. We have a point. We have an inverse variable. We need to fix it. So to fix it, please open a new row, no, sorry, a new column here, a new column that we are going to call hub4. And what you are going to do is do this operation, 11 minus 2. 11 minus 2 will switch the values. So for example, this person answered with 2. That means that person is not sad. So what I'm doing in this is only to turn it around. And I will just copy paste the formula and then Again, once that you have done everything, do not forget to do this copy and paste as values after, because otherwise we remove hub, now we need to remove this, we don't need it, remove it, don't forget to remove it. Then there is no issues with the formula because we copied as text. So now it works fine, right? You can check again that everything is between 1 and 10, but now is correctly measured because before it was the other way around. It was um, the higher was less happy. And now it's correct. Now that we turn it around, 10 means happy. So do not forget to do that because otherwise it's going to be a mess. And try to do that with everything else. So we have SRI 1. SRI 1 didn't have the period, you can see. So that's why I just changed the name and nothing to do in here. SRI 1, I forgot the one. SRI 1. SRI 2, we can also change in the name. SRI 3, we can also just change the name. SRI 4. I think SRI 4 has the period. So SRI 4 has the period. I need to fix it. So I open a new column and then I do 11 minus this number. And then I just click in this small corner to run the formula and then copy and paste as values. And then I don't forget to change the name of the variable SRI4 and I remove this, that's fine. So now SRI 1, 2, 3, 4, all with the correct numbers. Sustainable consumer behavior, that one doesn't have the point, we can move. This one doesn't have the point, we can move. This one has a point, so we have to change it again. So 11 minus this, and then we copy, and this will be sustainable consumer behavior 3. Wait, maybe something is wrong. Ah, no, it's correct because it's non-eco-friendly stores. No, it's okay. It actually makes sense. If you answer hi, that's because it's wrong. So let's remove this. Look, I forgot to do the copy paste. So copy, paste as values, and so remove. And sustainable consumer 4, I think you can just leave it. And then you do that with global mindset. I think global mindset is nice that you don't have to do anything. Yeah, GMS1, GMS2, you don't need to change anything. GMS3, you don't have to change. GMS4, you don't have to change. So if you have global mindset, you don't have to actually change anything. Only happiness, socially responsible investment, and sustainable consumer behavior you have to change. And after that, I think we are done with all of our dependent variables, right? From here on, we only have dependent. So maybe let's select all of this and change the color also to show that maybe we can use blue. So blue means these are dependent variables. And for the independent, we have to do the same. Let's do FST1. We don't need to change anything again. FST1. FST2, also nothing to change, but SFST3 we have to change. So we do 11 minus this, then we run the formula, copy, paste as values, and I change the name FST3. Then I remove the previous one, that's correct. FST4, we have to change it, and FST5, we have to change it. I mean, maybe I don't have to do everything in the video, otherwise it will be super boring. So maybe what I can do is I can just finish the video in here and then just make sure that you finish with the coding, that you do it on your own, and then check if everything is correct with what I have in my own. Maybe for the independent variables, we can use the color yellow. Which one? Maybe we can use pink. Yeah, so maybe pink it's fine. And then just keep doing it. I think for FST5, we need to do the point. So I will stop the video in here. I will keep doing it. And then when in the second video, it will be all gone. For the next video, we will start using SPSS. So be prepared for the next video that you have it with you. And that's it. I think just double check that you have everything as I have.